Hey everybody, Edo here, and this is Gearworks by Peacekeeper Games. And actually, this game came out a while ago, I think probably 2018. And before that, I actually played with Kirk, the designer, at like a prototype at Gamma or some other convention. And I hadn't played it since. And I was in Wisconsin. He now works at Thunderworks Games, and I was hanging out. And he had a copy and offered to give me it. And I never had played the actual final version, and it was a Kickstarter, so I thought it would be cool, and here we are, and here is Gearworks. So this is the two-player setup. It just fits a little smaller, about 3 or 4 players. You just have an extra column, and a couple cards are removed, the higher numbers. But basically, we're tinkerers, and what we're endeavoring to do is make these contraptions, and the contraptions are made out of these little pieces, and we are collecting pieces. And so we are going to be playing into this grid, trying to control, I guess, columns and rows. And by controlling them, you essentially, at the end of the round, are going to collect the gear associated with it, or the piece associated with it. Components here are really nice. The game box has a nice UV and insert, and then these are like really thick and like wood with full color on the front. So, you know, overall, a very nice looking game. And effectively, the way you play is on your turn, you have gear cards in your hand, and you are going to play them to the table with the following rules. So one, in the columns, you can't duplicate a color, or a suit, but the color is the strongest, but the gears are different. So here, this is the yellow gear with the circles. And so if I was going to play another card in a column, it just couldn't be that. So, but it could be a toothed gray one, and I could play it. The second rule, though, is that in the rows, you have to ascend or descend based on the numbers. So right now there's only 1 card per row, which is convenient, so you can basically place any number on either side of it. But let's say for a moment I had started playing and there was now a 7 next to the 6, that means you could only go up this way or down that way. And there's little arrows, and depending on where you first set it, you turn the gears, and it makes the arrows go in the other direction. But you either have to ascend or play the same number. So I could play another 7 over here, or an 8 or a 9, though in a two-player games there are no 8 or 9. So, but anyway, you could play higher or the same, lower the same. And you do still need to be mindful of the column restrictions. That's basically how you're playing, and when you do, you're going to flip over the gear and set the gear to your color. Let's say I'm white here, and now, and this one as well, and now I'm sort of in ownership of these. But if somebody else plays, they can steal it, and you turn the gear, and that's sort of how the area control or column and row control works. There are some other nuances here in terms of when you play a card on the table, you have this little mini math equation where you look at gears around it, and based on those gears, if they can either add or subtract to the same number, the number showing, you get an extra little lightning bolt. So like there's a 6 and a 4 here. If this was a 2, you know, sort of north, south, east, west. If this had been a 2, 6 minus 4 is 2, I would have gotten a free lightning bolt. So there's this little bit like looking around the table and getting a bonus that way. But otherwise, you keep playing around the table, playing gears, and lightning bolts let you do a couple, you know, lets you, you can use a lightning bolt to get another one of the contraption cards, or you can discard 2 contraptions for a lightning bolt, or use a lightning bolt to play on top of another card, and there's like lightning bolt rules. But basically, you're playing around the table, and people, if they can't do anything, they pass, go around until everyone's passed. You can also use a lightning bolt to come back in if maybe somebody did something that lets you play, or you want to play. And so that's really the long and the short of it. It's pretty straightforward. There are you each have unique characters with special abilities and that kind of thing, but you're basically playing through and trying to fulfill the contraptions. Each contraption, as I said, needs 2 of these components, and if you get 1, it's worth 4 points, and if you get 2, it's worth 9 points. So more components wins, you get points or lightning bolts, that kind of thing. It was neat to play it after all that time. I think there are some. I think this is going to split some folks. It is pretty light, but at the same time, it's a little bit. there's some tension between how I want to just play to get control of an area, but also at the same time trying to play with the restrictions and then trying to play to get the lightning bolts. So like feeling smart's a little at odds with just trying to feel effective, which I think creates some tension. At the same time, if you like sort of like thinking about ascending and descending numbers and the math of it and sort of how to be efficient, you know, you can have some cool moments where you are passing around and sort of working to predict what somebody's going to do and then play your move or make an adjustment last minute. It scales down to one player. I didn't play the solo mode, but then also upwards and you know, mechanically, I think it works in that regards. I just think there's a little bit of that balance in terms of like the how much it's. Let me think of another. Okay, it's sort of like it's a casual game, but has some of these more thinky elements. And it is a game that the more you play, the more those unlock. But I think with more casual players, their willingness to play the game more and unlock some of those secondary elements and nuances to it is a little bit of a balancing act. So some people may bounce off it. My kid, who is sort of math engineering sidey, really dug it and got a kick out of it and all the components, but just sort of like was thinking about oh yeah, there, boom, I get a bolt, and oh no, I got 2 bolts I could do, like that kind of thing. But for sure my other kid bounced. So interesting game, and yeah, I think it's really, you think about what that kind of gameplay you like. The grid's cool. Kirk has a placemat you can buy that's a little bit more clear. I didn't have a problem figuring out where things were, nor did any of the other players, though I know some people really prefer playmats. I'm not a big playmat fan, but there's some people who do. And so keep that in mind if that's something you're interested in. But so this is Gearworks. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.